The Bible is full of stories we've heard 100 times about angels, demons, and miracles. But hidden within its pages are strange creatures, often overlooked yet more mysterious than anything you might expect. Who were they? And why do their stories remain untold by many? The Bible, revered as a sacred text by billions, isn't just a collection of spiritual teachings and moral lessons. It's also a book of wonders, miracles, and encounters that defy human understanding. From heavenly beings to creatures that stir the imagination, the Bible goes beyond our everyday world. It's a text where the divine crosses paths with the unknown, and where forces, both good and terrifying, shape the destiny of humans. We've heard about angels guiding the faithful and demons tempting the weak, but there's so much more between the lines. Saya? They are not the gentle angels we often imagine. These beings, with their otherworldly appearance, serve a purpose beyond our understanding, guarding sacred places and representing a divine presence that is both awe-inspiring and fearsome. Mysterious beings, some terrifying, others awe-inspiring, are scattered throughout its verses. These creatures often arrive unannounced, leaving a trail of questions behind them. Who or what are they? Why are they mentioned in such peculiar circumstances? Their descriptions raise more questions than answers, and for centuries, scholars and theologians have debated their significance. Today, we're shining a light on these hidden figures, often overshadowed by more familiar biblical characters. These creatures challenge our understanding of good and evil, order and chaos. Their appearances in the Bible may be brief, but their impact is lasting. Among them is Leviathan, a sea creature described as fearsome enough to command the seas, a symbol of raw, untamable power. What did it represent to the ancient people who read about it? Was it just a metaphor or something far more literal? Then there's Behemoth, a giant land creature with bones like bronze and a tail like a cedar tree. Its very existence stands as a testament to the untamable wilderness that even the most powerful kings could not conquer. And who could forget the Seraphim, heavenly beings with 6 wings who appear in visions of the prophet Isaiah? They are not the gentle angels we often imagine. These beings, with their otherworldly appearance, serve a purpose beyond our understanding, guarding sacred places and representing a divine presence that is both awe-inspiring and fearsome. But it doesn't stop there. In the book of Genesis, we hear of the Nephilim, strange beings born from the union of divine beings and humans. Their story is as haunting as it is mysterious. Were they giants, as some interpretations suggest? What role did they play in the ancient world? And then, there are creatures like Lilith, a being often associated with darkness and wilderness. Though her name only briefly appears in the Bible, her myth has grown over the centuries. Some say she was Adam's first wife, cast out because she refused to submit. Others see her as a symbol of independence and danger. The list continues. Guardian figures like the Cherubim, who protected the Garden of Eden, strange beasts from apocalyptic visions in Daniel, and even the giant fish that swallowed Jonah whole. Each of these creatures carries with them an air of mystery, raising questions about the ancient world and the beliefs of the people who lived in it. As we venture into these stories, keep in mind that they weren't written merely to scare or entertain. They served a purpose, reminders of the forces beyond our control, both benevolent and dangerous. What did they mean to those who first heard these tales? And what might they reveal to us now, centuries later? Stay with us as we look deeper into the 10 most mysterious creatures mentioned in the Bible, each one adding to the richness of this ancient, awe-inspiring text. Creature 1, Leviathan. What kind of creature can stir the oceans and strike fear into the hearts of sailors with a single glance? The Bible describes such a beast, one so fierce that even the strongest flee from its presence. This is Leviathan, the monstrous sea creature unlike anything else in Scripture. Leviathan is introduced in the Bible as a symbol of untamable chaos, a force of nature so overwhelming that it stands as a direct representation of God's power over creation. In the book of Job, 41:134, it is described as a creature that no man can control, a beast so dangerous that even attempting to subdue it is an act of folly. The Psalms, 74:14, 104:26, also mention Leviathan, adding to the mystery and dread that surrounds this formidable being. Leviathan isn't just a sea creature, it's a symbol of untamed chaos. In the ancient world, the sea was often associated with disorder, danger, and the unknown, and Leviathan embodied all of these fears. It represents nature at its wildest, uncontrollable even by the most powerful rulers. In Job, Leviathan's existence serves as a reminder that there are forces beyond human control, forces that only God can truly master. Leviathan's physical traits only heighten its terrifying presence. The Bible's description paints a vivid picture. It is said to have impenetrable scales that are its armor against any weapon. It's not just strong, it's invincible. Even more alarming is its ability to breathe fire. In Job, we read that flames and smoke pour from its mouth, making it a creature of both sea and fire. It's a being whose very breath brings destruction. The sea, which it commands, adds another layer to its danger. Leviathan is depicted as a creature that can stir the waters into chaos, leaving destruction in its wake. The image of such a beast rising from the depths, its scales shimmering under the sun, its mouth breathing fire, is enough to inspire awe and fear. In ancient times, Leviathan was not just a symbol in the Bible, but a representation of chaos itself in many Middle Eastern myths. Some scholars believe that Leviathan is rooted in the mythology of the ancient Canaanites, where a sea monster named Lotan battled the god Baal. The biblical Leviathan, however, is used to emphasize God's absolute control over even the most chaotic and dangerous forces of nature. Leviathan's role in the Bible is clear. It serves as a testament to God's unmatched power. Even this terrifying creature, feared by all, is ultimately subject to the will of the divine. No human can subdue it, but God controls it effortlessly, as shown in Job's dramatic confrontation with the creature. Leviathan is more than just a monstrous sea creature. It is a symbol of the unknown, of power beyond comprehension, and of nature's might. Its description in the Bible stands as a reminder of the boundaries between the human and the divine, of chaos and order. Leviathan represents the awe-inspiring and terrifying forces that humans cannot command, but which God rules with ease. Stay tuned as we uncover more creatures with equally strange and mysterious stories from the pages of the Bible. Creature 2, Behemoth. What kind of creature could stand its ground against the forces of nature, unmoved and untamable? The Bible speaks of one such beast, a colossal land creature that embodies raw strength and the wildness of creation. This is Behemoth, a giant among giants. In the book of Job 40:15-24, Behemoth is introduced as a creature of immense power, one that roams the earth with unmatched strength. Described as living by the rivers and feeding on grass, Behemoth might sound peaceful at first, but its size and might set it apart as something more than just a large animal. Like Leviathan, Behemoth serves as a symbol of God's mastery over creation, something so immense that no human can tame or control it. Behemoth's description draws comparisons to some of the largest animals known to humanity. Many scholars liken it to a giant ox, or perhaps even an elephant or hippopotamus, due to its massive body and plant-based diet. Its bones are described as tubes of bronze, and its limbs like bars of iron, Job 40:18, emphasizing its unbreakable strength. It's a creature whose sheer physical presence commands respect and awe. One of the most intriguing details is Behemoth's tail, which is said to sway like a cedar tree, Job 40:17. This powerful imagery suggests a creature of great size, perhaps larger than any animal we know today. Whether Behemoth is a metaphorical beast or an actual animal from ancient times, its immense scale reinforces its place as a dominant force in the natural world. While Behemoth might be compared to animals we know, its true significance lies in what it represents. Behemoth symbolizes the parts of nature that humans cannot control, the raw, untamed wilderness that thrives beyond the reach of human civilization. This creature roams freely, answering to no one but God. In Job, God points to Behemoth to show his unmatched power, reminding Job that there are forces in the world far beyond human understanding or control. Behemoth's untamable nature highlights a central theme in the book of Job, that God's creation is vast and complex, and not everything is meant to be understood or dominated by humans. Behemoth, like Leviathan, serves as a reminder that humans, despite their intelligence and strength, are only a small part of the larger universe that God governs. Behemoth's role in the Bible is more than just a depiction of a giant beast. It's a reflection of divine order and the limitations of human power. God presents Behemoth to Job during a conversation about suffering, power, and humility. The message is clear. If a creature as massive and untamable as Behemoth exists, and yet is entirely within God's control, how much more must we trust in God's wisdom and authority over all things? Behemoth is a creature of the land, strong and majestic, representing the vast, untamable aspects of creation. Its immense size and power are reminders that not everything in nature is meant to be subdued by humans. Instead, Behemoth stands as a testament to God's mastery over all life, showing us that even the greatest forces of the earth exist under divine authority. Stay tuned as we move from land to the heavens and meet more of the mysterious beings hidden in the Bible's pages. Creature 3. Seraphim. What kind of beings could stand in the presence of God himself, covering their faces and feet with wings as they sing praises? These are no ordinary angels. The Seraphim are celestial beings unlike any other, with a mystery that has captivated believers for centuries. The Seraphim, mentioned in the book of Isaiah 6:1-7, are heavenly beings whose primary role is to glorify God. They appear during one of the most vivid visions in the Bible, where the prophet Isaiah sees the divine throne room. But these are not your typical angelic figures, with 6 wings and an otherworldly appearance. Seraphim are a fascinating mix of beauty and awe-inspiring power. Their very presence near God's throne makes them one of the most mysterious and revered creatures in biblical lore. Isaiah describes his vision of the Seraphim in the year King Uzziah died. He is transported to the throne room of God, where these heavenly beings are seen hovering above the throne. Each Seraphim has 6 wings, 2 to cover their faces, 2 to cover their feet, and 2 for flying. This imagery is powerful. The wings covering their faces suggest reverence. No being, no matter how pure, can look directly at God. Covering their feet implies humility, while the wings used for flight show their readiness to serve. Isaiah hears the Seraphim calling out to one another, their voices shaking the very foundations of the temple. They chant, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty, the whole earth is full of his glory." Isaiah 6:3. This repetitive declaration of God's holiness emphasizes his perfect nature and supreme power, a truth that the Seraphim constantly acknowledge. The 6 wings of the Seraphim hold deep symbolic meaning. Covering their faces with 2 wings shows their recognition of God's majesty and the fact that even heavenly beings must shield themselves from the brilliance of his glory. Covering their feet reflects modesty and submission, much like Moses removing his sandals before the burning bush. The final 2 wings allow them to remain airborne, always ready to act on God's commands, which signifies their role as active servants of the Almighty. Unlike many other heavenly beings mentioned in the Bible, the Seraphim are located in a position of extreme closeness to God. This proximity heightens their mysterious nature. They are not depicted as messengers like typical angels. Instead, their role is far more exalted. Their constant worship and the sheer power of their song demonstrate their unique position among heavenly beings. This closeness to God also ties into their name, which comes from the Hebrew root seraph, meaning to burn. Some interpretations suggest that the Seraphim are burning ones, possibly symbolizing their intense passion and pure devotion to God, or even their radiance as they exist in his presence. The Seraphim not only praise God but also serve as instruments of purification. In Isaiah's vision, one of the Seraphim approaches him with a live coal taken from the altar. The seraph touches Isaiah's lips with the burning coal, cleansing him of sin and making him worthy to speak God's words. Isaiah 6:6-7. This act shows that the Seraphim are more than just passive worshippers. They are active participants in carrying out God's will, bringing both judgment and purification. The Seraphim are among the most mysterious and awe-inspiring beings in the Bible. Their 6 wings, constant praise, and role near God's throne set them apart from other heavenly figures. They exist as a symbol of ultimate reverence and purity, forever in the presence of the divine, reminding us of the glory and holiness of God. As we move forward, we'll meet more beings whose stories push the boundaries of human understanding. Stay tuned for what's next. Creature 4. Nephilim. Who were the mysterious giants that walked the earth before the flood, born from an unholy union between divine beings and humans? The Bible calls them Nephilim, and their brief mention leaves us with far more questions than answers. The Nephilim are introduced in one of the most puzzling passages of the Bible, found in Genesis 6:1-4. they are described as the offspring of the sons of God and human women, leading many to believe that these beings were giants, both in stature and influence. Their presence in the biblical text is brief, yet the mystery surrounding their origin, nature, and purpose has fascinated scholars and readers for centuries. The Nephilim first appear in Genesis 6, in the time leading up to the Great Flood. The passage explains that the sons of God, often interpreted as fallen angels or divine beings, saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and took them as wives. From these unions, the Nephilim were born, beings described as mighty men of old, men of renown. But beyond this description, the Bible offers little explanation, leaving room for various interpretations and speculation about their true origins. Some scholars suggest that the term Nephilim itself may be derived from the Hebrew word nephal, meaning to fall, which could imply that the Nephilim were fallen beings or connected to fallen angels. This interpretation fits with the idea that they were the offspring of divine beings who rebelled against God, leading to a race that was neither fully human nor fully divine. While the Bible doesn't explicitly describe the Nephilim as giants in Genesis, other references, such as in Numbers 13:33, describe them as being of immense size and power. When the Israelite spies reported seeing the Nephilim in the land of Canaan, they claimed that compared to them, we seemed like grasshoppers. This suggests that the Nephilim were towering figures, both physically and in the way they dominated ancient societies. Because of their size and strength, some traditions view the Nephilim as warriors or rulers who exerted considerable influence in the pre-flood world. Their presence may have contributed to the widespread corruption and violence that eventually led God to bring the flood as a means of cleansing the earth. The Nephilim play a curious role in the Bible's larger narrative. They are mentioned at a critical point, just before the story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood. Some interpretations suggest that the Nephilim were part of the reason for the flood, that their existence symbolized the mixing of the divine and human in ways that defied God's plan. Their presence could have represented a world gone astray, where boundaries between heaven and earth were dangerously blurred. After the flood, references to the Nephilim fade, but their legacy lingers in other biblical and non-canonical texts, such as the Book of Enoch, which expands on their origins. According to this ancient Jewish text, the Nephilim were the children of fallen angels known as the Watchers, who disobeyed God by mingling with humans. This version paints the Nephilim as corrupting influences on humanity, bringing forbidden knowledge and furthering the sinfulness that led to divine judgment. The mystery of the Nephilim doesn't end with their brief biblical appearances. Later interpretations and extra-biblical sources have continued to speculate on their role in history. Were they merely symbolic representations of the chaos and rebellion in the pre-flood world? Or were they actual, physical giants who once roamed the earth? Their mention in Numbers hints that traces of the Nephilim survived even after the flood, suggesting that their influence may have persisted longer than originally thought. Even today, the Nephilim remain a subject of intrigue and debate, inspiring countless theories about their identity, origins, and purpose. From giants to fallen angels, the possibilities are as varied as they are mysterious. The Nephilim are one of the Bible's most enigmatic creatures, whether they were giants, divine hybrids, or powerful rulers of the ancient world. Their brief mention has left an enduring mark on biblical history. Their story may be short, but the questions they raise about the interaction between the divine and human realms continue to captivate and inspire. Stay tuned as we unravel more of the Bible's hidden creatures and their remarkable stories. Creature 5, Cherubim. What kind of creature stands at the gates of paradise, with multiple faces and wings, guarding the sacred spaces of heaven and earth? The Bible's description of cherubim reveals guardians that are far from the innocent cherubs we often imagine. Cherubim are one of the most mysterious and majestic beings in the Bible, appearing in several key moments in Scripture. Unlike the small, childlike figures often seen in modern art, these biblical cherubim are powerful and awe-inspiring. They are depicted with multiple faces, representing different creatures, and their role is far greater than mere decoration. They are protectors of the holiest places, including the Garden of Eden and God's divine throne. The cherubim first appear in Genesis, where they are assigned the task of guarding the Garden of Eden after Adam and Eve are expelled. In Genesis 3:24, they are described as standing with a flaming sword to block the way to the tree of life. ensuring that humanity could no longer access this sacred place. From this moment, the cherubim become synonymous with protection and divine authority, guarding what is holy and untouchable. Their role as guardians is repeated throughout the Bible. In Exodus 25:18-22, two golden cherubim are placed atop the Ark of the Covenant, their wings overshadowing the mercy seat where God's presence was said to dwell. This highlights their role not only as protectors but also as beings who are intimately connected to the divine. Perhaps the most striking feature of the cherubim is their appearance. In the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel 1:5-11, they are described as having 4 faces, that of a human, a lion, an ox, and an eagle. Each face symbolizes a different aspect of creation, humans as the highest of earthly beings, lions representing wild animals, oxen symbolizing domesticated creatures, and eagles as the rulers of the sky. This multi-faced imagery suggests that the cherubim embody the full spectrum of life on earth, reminding us that they are not just creatures of heaven, but beings that bridge the gap between the divine and the physical world. Their 4 wings, 2 used for flying and 2 to cover their bodies, emphasize their holy status and readiness to serve God's commands. The eyes that cover their entire bodies further represent their all-seeing nature, showing that nothing escapes their attention in their role as protectors. In Ezekiel's vision of God's chariot, the cherubim serve as the very carriers of God's throne, moving in perfect unison as they transport the divine presence across the heavens. Their movement, described as swift and precise, highlights their strength and obedience to God's will. Ezekiel 10:15-22. In this vision, the cherubim are not just guardians. They are part of God's divine machinery, responsible for upholding His rule across the universe. In the book of Revelation, the cherubim reappear in the visions of John, described as living creatures around God's throne. Revelation 4:6-8. Their continuous worship of God, declaring "Holy, holy, holy," echoes the role of the seraphim, showing the cherubim as beings whose sole purpose is to glorify God and protect His holiness. Throughout the Bible, the cherubim consistently symbolize divine protection and authority. Whether they are guarding the gates of Eden, overshadowing the Ark of the Covenant, or bearing God's throne in prophetic visions, their role is clear. They are the heavenly beings entrusted with safeguarding the sacred and ensuring that no unworthy being can approach what is holy. Their fearsome, multi-faced appearance reinforces this role. The faces of different creatures suggest their dominion over all forms of life, while their wings and eyes reflect their ability to see and act on God's behalf. Cherubim are not to be taken lightly. They are powerful beings who stand as a barrier between humanity and the divine. The cherubim are far more than the innocent cherubic figures we often imagine. With their multi-faced appearance and their role as protectors of sacred spaces, they serve as a reminder of the awe-inspiring, untouchable nature of God's holiness. Throughout biblical history, they stand at the gates of what is most holy, ensuring that the sacred remains safe from corruption. Stay tuned as we continue to explore more of the Bible's most mysterious and powerful creatures. Creature 6, Lilith. What kind of creature is banished to the wilderness, feared for her rebellious nature and dark power? The name Lilith has echoed through myth and scripture for centuries, representing more than just a demon, but a symbol of independence and defiance. Lilith is one of the most enigmatic figures in biblical and extra-biblical lore. While her name only appears once in the Bible, in the book of Isaiah 34:14, her myth stretches far beyond this brief mention. Described as a creature of the wilderness, Lilith is often seen as a demonic figure, but her origins tell a story rooted in Babylonian mythology. Over time, she has come to represent more than just a demon. She embodies the darker aspects of femininity, rebellion, and the struggle for independence. Lilith's sole mention in the Bible is in Isaiah, where she is described as inhabiting the desolate wilderness. This verse lists various creatures that will dwell in the ruins of Edom after its destruction, including wild animals, night creatures, and Lilith herself. Isaiah 34:14. Here, she is referred to as a demon of the night, wandering the empty spaces, which reinforces her connection to chaos and the untamed forces of nature. Though the Bible does not provide much detail, later interpretations often associate Lilith with danger, particularly toward children and pregnant women. This characterization is rooted in ancient myth, where Lilith is seen as a predator of the vulnerable, lurking in the shadows of the desert. Ah. Long before Lilith appeared in biblical texts, she was a figure in Babylonian and Mesopotamian myth. In these early traditions, Lilith was often portrayed as a winged, serpentine creature associated with the night and death. She was believed to prey on newborn infants and pregnant women, a theme that would carry over into later interpretations of her character. One of the earliest references to Lilith comes from the Epic of Gilgamesh, where she is depicted as a destructive, female demon who lives in the Hulupu tree. Over time, this imagery of Lilith as a chaotic force was absorbed into Jewish traditions, where she became known not only as a demon, but also as a symbol of the untameable aspects of femininity. Perhaps the most famous aspect of Lilith's story is the legend that positions her as Adam's first wife, created before Eve. According to this myth, which developed in Jewish folklore and later mystical texts like the alphabet of Ben Sira, Lilith was created from the same clay as Adam. However, she refused to submit to him, particularly in matters of authority and equality. In one version of the story, Lilith leaves Adam and the Garden of Eden, choosing exile rather than subjugation. As punishment, she becomes a demon of the night, preying on the weak and innocent. This tale of rebellion casts Lilith in a new light, where she is no longer merely a demon, but a figure of defiance. Her refusal to be dominated by Adam has made her an icon of independence and female autonomy, albeit with darker undertones. Some see her as a cautionary tale, while others view her as a symbol of liberation from oppressive power structures. Throughout history, Lilith has been closely associated with the darker, more threatening side of femininity. While Eve is often seen as the obedient, nurturing female archetype, Lilith represents the opposite, fiercely independent, unwilling to compromise, and often viewed as dangerous because of it. In many interpretations, she is linked with sexuality, power, and rebellion, all aspects that society has historically associated with dangerous women. For this reason, Lilith has become a figure that has been both demonized and celebrated. In some circles, she is seen as a demonic seductress, leading men astray and attacking women and children. In others, she has been reimagined as a feminist icon, representing resistance to subjugation and the fight for autonomy in a patriarchal world. Lilith's story is far more complex than a single mention in Isaiah might suggest. As a figure rooted in ancient mythology and adapted into biblical stories, she stands at the intersection of legend, religion, and social commentary. Whether seen as a demon, a rebellious spirit, or an icon of independence, Lilith remains a symbol of untamed power and the eternal struggle between control and freedom. Stay with us as we continue to reveal more of the Bible's hidden creatures and their fascinating stories. Creature 7. The Four Beasts in Daniel. Have you ever wondered what ancient prophecies might reveal about our world's future? In the book of Daniel, we encounter a gripping vision of four incredible creatures, each more fearsome than the last. These beasts are not merely symbols, they embody the rise and fall of kingdoms that have shaped human history. The first beast. The first creature resembles a lion with eagle's wings, representing the Babylonian Empire, renowned for its power and dominance. But as the wings are torn off, this beast becomes a symbol of the empire's eventual downfall, reminding us that no power is invincible. The second beast. Next, we see a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth, signifying the Medo-Persian Empire. The bear's slow, lumbering movements mirror the empire's gradual but relentless expansion, devouring its enemies in its pursuit of dominance. The third beast. The third creature is a swift leopard, adorned with 4 wings and 4 heads. This beast symbolizes the Greek Empire, known for its speed and strategy under the leadership of Alexander the Great. But just as swiftly as it rises, it also falls, hinting at the fragility of earthly power. The fourth beast. Finally, we encounter a terrifying beast, unlike any animal we know, with iron teeth and 10 horns. This creature represents the Roman Empire, a brutal force that crushed opposition with iron-fisted authority. Its 10 horns suggest a future reign of 10 kings, a mystery yet to unfold. These 4 beasts encapsulate the tumultuous journey of kingdoms throughout history, reminding us that power is fleeting and often intertwined with destruction. As we explore these creatures further, we uncover not just the past, but insights that echo into our present and future. What do these visions say about the world we live in today? Stay tuned as we unravel the profound meanings behind Daniel's apocalyptic revelations. Creature 8, the giant fish, Jonah. What would it be like to be swallowed by a giant fish? In the biblical story of Jonah, this remarkable creature plays a pivotal role, blending mystery, divine purpose, and ancient myth. Jonah, a reluctant prophet, finds himself in a precarious situation when he tries to escape God's command, only to be swallowed whole by this enormous fish, a creature unlike any other. This giant fish is more than just a means of transportation. It represents a supernatural intervention designed to deliver Jonah safely after 3 days in its belly. Imagine being in darkness, surrounded by the sounds of the ocean, contemplating your choices. Jonah's time within the fish becomes a transformative experience, prompting reflection and repentance, ultimately leading him back to fulfill his divine mission. The story of Jonah and the giant fish resonates with various ancient sea myths, where creatures of the deep often symbolize chaos and the unknown. Many cultures spoke of enormous sea monsters, like the Babylonian Tiamat or the Greek Kraken, that represented the uncontrollable forces of nature. Yet, in Jonah's story, this fearsome creature becomes an instrument of God's mercy, showcasing a striking contrast to the malevolence typically found in mythological sea monsters. The giant fish not only serves as a vessel for Jonah's physical safety, but also as a symbol of rebirth. Just as ancient myths often depict heroes emerging stronger from their encounters with monsters, Jonah's journey through the fish's belly signifies a personal resurrection. It challenges us to consider our own monsters and how they might lead us to unexpected growth. As we dive deeper into this extraordinary encounter, we are left to ponder, what does this mysterious creature teach us about our own struggles and the paths we take in life? Join us as we explore the profound lessons embedded in Jonah's tale and the enigmatic nature of the giant fish. Creature 9, the lion with eagle's wings. What happens when two of the most powerful animals in nature merge into one terrifying creature? In the book of Daniel, we encounter the lion with eagle's wings, a symbolic figure that embodies both strength and swiftness, representing a dominant kingdom in Daniel's apocalyptic visions. The lion, known as the king of beasts, symbolizes power, authority, and bravery. Paired with the eagle, a creature renowned for its speed and keen eyesight, this composite beast signifies a formidable force on land and in the sky. Together, they evoke a sense of awe and fear, illustrating the might of the empire it represents. This creature's wings, which are eventually torn off, serve as a reminder that even the strongest empires are vulnerable to downfall, echoing the theme of transient power found throughout the book of Daniel. The grandeur of Babylon is reflected in this creature's majestic form, highlighting its significant impact on the ancient world. Yet, as the prophecy unfolds, we witness the inevitable decline of this once mighty kingdom, illustrating As we explore the vision of the lion with eagle's wings, we are prompted to reflect on the nature of strength in our lives. What empires do we build, and how do we balance power with humility? This creature serves as a reminder that true strength lies not only in dominance but also in recognizing our limitations and the importance of accountability. Creature 10, the ghost of Samuel. What does it mean when the boundaries between life and death blur in the biblical narrative? The ghost of Samuel, conjured by the witch of Endor for King Saul, is one of the few instances in the Bible that directly addresses the concept of ghosts, inviting us to explore themes of power, desperation, and the afterlife. In a moment of desperation, Saul seeks out the witch of Endor to summon Samuel, the prophet he had once revered. The appearance of Samuel's ghost is startling. He emerges with a profound presence, challenging Saul and revealing the dire consequences of his actions. This eerie encounter compels us to confront the weight of our choices and the potential repercussions that linger even after death. The ghost of Samuel stands as a significant figure in biblical literature, highlighting the complexities of life, death, and the spiritual realm. Unlike other depictions of spirits that often serve as harbingers of doom or confusion, Samuel's ghost offers a message of clarity and judgment. His appearance raises questions about the nature of communication with the dead and the moral implications surrounding such encounters. This ghostly encounter resonates with various cultural narratives surrounding the afterlife, where the spirits of the deceased interact with the living to impart wisdom or warnings. However, in the biblical context, it underscores the importance of adhering to divine guidance rather than resorting to forbidden practices. As we reflect on the ghost of Samuel, we are invited to consider our own connections to the past. How do our decisions echo through time? And what legacies do we leave behind? The haunting presence of Samuel serves as a reminder that while the line between life and death may be blurred, the lessons we learn from those who have come before us remain timeless. Throughout our exploration of these 10 remarkable creatures, we have journeyed through ancient texts and profound symbolism, each representing unique aspects of power, morality, and the divine. From the chaotic might of Leviathan to the enigmatic presence of the ghost of Samuel, these beings not only captivate our imagination, but also offer valuable insights into the human experience. Leviathan and Behemoth remind us of the awe-inspiring forces of nature and the complexity of creation, while the Seraphim and Cherubim highlight the divine hierarchy and the role of heavenly beings in guiding and protecting humanity. The Nephilim raise questions about the intersection of the human and the divine, inviting us to contemplate